Hockey Hotline. This is amazing. You know, the Edmonton Oilers, how horrible they were at the beginning of the season. They fired their coach a month into the campaign. Edmonton has now won 16 straight.
Whoa.
They are one game away from tying the all-time NHL record that goes back to the 1920s.
Incredible.
Oilers are just playing great hockey. And I still have reservations. The Oilers don't have the right goaltending, but they've won 16 in a row. And it's just not Connor McDavid. Everybody is contributing. So that is spectacular. LA Kings, something's got to happen because this has to change. This team at one point, they came out of the gate, were 27-4 to start the season. The Kings are 2-14 since mid-December. They have stopped scoring. They got problems in goal now that have just overwhelmed them. Rob Blake has given the coach, Todd McClellan, a vote of confidence. They can't make it fit. And if you look at the roster, they got a lot of good hockey players, a lot of veteran hockey players. They got a ton of guys making $8 million a year. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Kevin Fiala. I guess we now know why Winnipeg and Minnesota got rid of you. These guys haven't shown up. They're not scoring goals at all. How could you be this good to start the season, such a big payroll, and be so poor right now? Are they going to fall out of the playoff race? No, there's still half a season to go. But that roster, you look at that roster, and it's 2-14 in the last 16 games. How's that possible? And then the third one is the San Diego Gulls. And this is the same team that went 13 games in a row without a win in November. And the Gulls have flipped the corner. They got injured guys back. That helps. Some veteran guys like Chase DeLeo back. That helps. But their kids suddenly have turned it up a notch, and they're scoring goals. You know, this past weekend, they've been on the road for a week and a half, a 5-game roadie in the American Hockey League. Sasha Pastyuhov, rookie, had not scored a goal all season. We're at midseason. He pots 3 in one game at Iowa. Nestor Nestorenko, young guy. He gets 3 goals in the same game for the Gulls. And their goaltending is improved. And the other thing is they just lost their top defenseman. Olin Zellweger has been called up by the Anaheim Ducks, and he's going to play probably the rest of the season up there because they got so many injuries. They've got all the good young defensemen we thought were going to be here in San Diego are now putting on Ducks colors and playing up there at the Honda Center. And their goaltending has been pretty, as young as it is, their goaltending has been pretty consistent. Suddenly, the Gulls have won 6 of 8, most of them on the road. And this is a team that went 13 straight games without a win in November. And it's obvious to me that this coaching staff has done a really good job flipping this thing. And all of a sudden, the Gulls have taken themselves out of last place. And the Gulls are trying to push their way into the playoff race and got a half a season to get there. And I think it'll reignite this town if this team keeps winning because the crowds have been terrible. You know, team that used to draw 11 and 12,000 is drawing 4,500 and 5,000 now. And hopefully Matt McIlvain's going to flip this. He's finally, I think these kids, the light bulb's gone on. These kids are learning what it's like to play at this next level. Because going to the American Hockey League, it's different than playing at Cornell. It's different than playing for the London Knights in the Ontario Hockey Association. It's really different if you came from Europe. The grind here is a lot different, and this jump up in level of play. And it looks like McIlvain has finally flipped the switch in these kids, and there's a ton of young guys there starting to learn how to play and score goals at this level. So, John, put your beer down. You're a hockey fan. Quit banging on the plexiglass behind the penalty box. Tell me what you think.
Well, first of all, I think all 3 of these teams flipped a switch, right? But let's tell me a little bit about NHL history. You know, if the Oilers are 1 game away from setting the all-time consecutive win streak, who has the record right now?
Good question. I want to say it might be the Detroit Red Wings from a couple decades ago when they had their Stanley Cup teams. It might be them, but 16 wins in a row, and that's home, that's road, that's through injuries and all that. That's a spectacular accomplishment. And I don't think they have enough goaltending, but right now their goaltending is playing better than it did last year when they got let down in postseason play and how crappy they played to start the season. You know, maybe there's going to be a deal coming there, but you win 16 in a row in any league, because this is a tough league, especially on the road. and the travel is in the NHL is such a grind. You're playing 4 games in 7 days. The wear
Yeah.
and tear factor. So 16 wins in a row is just that should catch everybody's attention.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Oakland A's back in the Billy Bean era
Oh,
when they had
yeah.
that run. But that's a huge accomplishment, especially with all the travel. And it's not like you get to play a 3-game series. You can set up camp in one city for a weekend. You're always on the move.
Yeah, you board the charter at 11 o'clock after a game, and then you fly to wherever you fly and get there at 4 a.m. and then maybe have one day off for ice time, and then got to play again in Detroit, and then do the same thing coming out of Detroit, going to Chicago or Columbus. In the NHL, the teams out west, they take them on the road. It's not one and done. Play 5 games, 6 games on the road. Whoa.
Huge accomplishment.
Okay. So